Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. This is Marilyn Spirit Level, and I'm doing something a little different today. I started this process a few days ago, actually. And what's happening is 2 years ago, I bought about 10 long neck squash. And they kind of look like this, but they have a much bigger bulb on the end, and sometimes the neck comes up and it curves around. You've seen them. Some people think they're gourds or whatever, but it's really butternut squash. And so this is the style that I found this year. I did see some other ones, but they were $3 a piece. These were only 75 cents a piece. Now, they're not as big, but 2 years ago when I went out looking for butternut squash, I came across one of our favorite produce stands out in Amish country. And so my mom and I drove out there the other day, and we went to our favorite stand, and they were totally out of butternut squash. So when I went there 2 years ago, I was able to get the large ones for $1 a piece. And like I said, these were two for $1.50, so that's 75 cents each. So I only got like 3 or 4 of these because I had a $10 bill and I wanted to round out. Now I'm giving away my whole secret of what happened. What happened was I went and found these pumpkins. And I hadn't done pumpkins before, but they are a squash. So this is what's going on here is, look, they're 14 inches at least, 14, 15 inches. This is 16 inches tall. So they are huge pumpkins, and I saw them there, and they were $1 a piece. And well, you know, my bargain hunting radar went up. So I saw these pumpkins, and look, they are gorgeous, aren't they? I had 6. I got 6 of them, and so that was $6. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess 5 of these butternut squash, and then I threw in another quarter because it was a self-serve. You know, at the end of the season, the produce stand is not as busy, so there was a metal box there, and so you self-serve. And it was so funny. I have a little story because the first stand I went to, there was a woman and her husband there, and when I walked up, she was getting some cauliflower or some other things, and I said, "Oh, do you have any butternut squash?" And they all laughed, and they said, "Oh, that's what I came here for." So the funny thing is, then I asked if there was any other, because they were out, is there any other stands? And the Amish woman, or she directed me down the street to, she said there's one on the right and one on the left a little further. So I went and checked it out, and the first stand on the right had them for $3 a piece, and I did not want to pay that. So then I went further and went on the left side, and there was a fairly big stand, a building, and that's where I found these pumpkins. So they were $1 a piece. Can you imagine that? Now I'll tell you what happens here. I want you to see this. Do you see this? This is like, you think, oh, it's rotten. Well, what happened was it got frostbit. And when things get frostbitten, when they thaw out, then they get soft. So when I first got them, they didn't have this appearance. And so when I first got them, they didn't have them. Sorry, I got to keep an eye on this. They did not have this appearance. Now they're only soft like right up here at the top. So I said, well, okay, I got to do this. I'm having our Thanksgiving family at my sister's this Sunday. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I wanted to get all these things up because I am getting, with these large pumpkins, I'm getting 12 containers of squash, 12 containers of meat out of one pumpkin. So you'll see how I do this. I'm going to show you how I do it because I already have some made up here. So 12 containers. The last time I did this with just the butternut squash, I had about 19, and that lasted us 2 years. So I'm figuring, all right, I'm gonna just do these pumpkin up, and I'll have a lot of containers, but you know what? I can give them away. I can give away these containers, and people can have beautiful squash soup, and it is just wonderful. Let me show you what I use. It is a wonderful soup. It's kind of like the thickness of split pea, but it's, let me see, the thickness of split pea, but it's orange. This is what I use. You use one of these containers and you use 1 can of that. You stick the squash on the stove and heat it up. Now, sometimes these pumpkins are thicker, and so you have to cook them longer. I'm going to show you right now. I'll get back to that again, but I'm going to show you right now what I do. I have 2 in the oven right now too. Can you see them in there? Okay, so I have 2 in the oven, and that would be a half of a pumpkin because the other half is right over there. All right, so I'm going to show you what I do here to cut these up. See if I can get the right angle. Okay. First thing you need is a really nice Cutco knife. Cutco makes the best cutlery. All right. Now I'm going to pick the flat side. There's always a flat side. So that's over here. There's flat side. So you cut in between the flat side, and because you want it to be able to lay down in the oven, so at least you have it halfway, and you cut down the one side, find your cut, and go exactly on the other side. And you know what? Isn't it nice that a pumpkin has these lines? So you really can follow the line, and you're going to get straight down. There's not a lot of crooked cutting. Even a man could do this. No, I'm kidding, but no, you should. You guys should take care of yourselves. I'm telling you, it's very difficult for a woman who cares about health and taking care of her family if the man has no interest. So there, I cut this in half. Now I want you to see. And look, there's the dogs, and they get all excited because they love this stuff. I cook it up, and then they stand there and bark at me when I'm cutting it because they want to have a piece. So this is the insides. Now you'll notice over there, look, I have seeds on the trays. I'm going to show you how to take the seeds out. That it's the most efficient. I like having things done in a most efficient way. Oh, that sounded like something from, what was that? Mary Poppins. In the most efficient way. Remember that song? Yes, anyway. So, I don't know if you can see this or not. But I'm going to just do this and see if you guys get it. There's, on the inside of the pumpkin, there's like strings, and it's a little different consistency than the meat. The meat is here, and it's pretty solid. When you get into the center, it gets a little slippery, and it's spongy. So you want to cut that away. Okay, so you cut that away. But you don't just start pulling things out like you do when you're making a jack-o'-lantern. No, you want to do it with purpose, and as though you have a purpose and you know what you're doing. Just fake it till you make it, right? That's how it is with street teaching. You fake it till you make it. You just have a good brochure and say, here, if I can't say it right, just read this. I have to get that in there, don't I? So here, I am pulling it away, and you see I'm just slicing down and pulling. I'm pulling this away. And here you look, this big seed cradle. I'm just going to call it a seed cradle because I have nothing else to call it. But you slice this away, and you're pulling it away as you're slicing it. You can turn it around to make things easier on you. Let me see if I can tilt this up at all, and so you can see it. But you're pulling, and you're not cutting into the meat. You're just, see, the very tip of your knife is just breaking those strings. Okay? Just breaking away the strings. And you should be able to come out with a intact, with it being intact, the seed cradle being this intact. Now watch. Look at that. Can you see that? See that? It's one piece, and I'll tell you why it's good to do that. Now there's a few seeds left which you can just scrape in. And put them in your, and that's all there is to it. Now with this one, remember the frost had gotten to it. So the front of it here is really mushy, and you don't really want that. So I have these bags, you know, the plastic bag from the grocery store or whatever, and just set it down, fold the top down so it stands up by itself. It's so much easier when you don't have to mess with things. So just have it open like a bowl. And so then you're going to cut away, feel out where it's soft, and cut away. And put that in here. Do you see how it's crumbling? Yes, you can see that. That's good. And look, the skin is even coming off the shell. The skin, the shell. And it's kind of, it has a different, it's like dried, and if it was wet, it would be mush, and you don't want that. Okay. And it's not going to be pretty. Now the other ones, the two that I did the other day, and I had 24 quart from the two that I did. That's how I know that it's 12 per pumpkin. And I still have 2 pumpkin out in the garage to keep them cool. And look, I'm trying to scrape all this away to make it like solid meat again there. Okay, now let me clean up this mess here. It's good to have a spatula, because look, you just pick it right up. It's very clean. It's very good to have a clean surface when you're cooking, so you have things out of the way. You don't feel flustered by things. You are neat, and you have all that right there. Now I put this bag right over next to my seed station, and that's what I'm calling it, a seed station. I'm going to put those there. So when I have the time between slicing and cooking or baking and doing the seed station, I can do that, you know, at the same time there. Here, I'm going to rinse these off. I didn't do the dishes, so you see that. Okay, now I have my apron on, and look, always have a rag for your hands. Now, I have these containers, and I was running out of containers. I got the containers from, my mom was doing the soup. They have, down at the church I was raised in, Mom went there, and for years and years, they have a bazaar, December, the 1st of December, the first Saturday in December. So we bought a case of, I'm gonna have to wash those out, and I'll tell you why. But a case of these containers with the lids, And you can get them, there's various supply stores around for wholesale supplies. And they would make soup and sell the soup. So I had some still left in the case in the basement. So that's what I did, was use them. And I've been using them off and on, but here's a big production I'm doing here, and I'm going to need those. And all here, the rest of this thing, what I do is I didn't put it in the oven. I have 2 in the oven. So all I did here was, and see down here at the bottom, that's where the stem is. That's a little harder to get through. And so if you just take a couple little slices there, and then it breaks. Look at that beautiful meat. Isn't that beautiful? So we'll slide that over there, and that will go in the oven. Okay? And there's our trash. Now let's come over here and I'll show you how I slice it up. I'm going to position you over here. So, oh no, that's a shame because that light is coming in from the window. And it puts a glare. Somebody said it's an angel. Well, I don't know. Let me see if that makes it any better. I'll try and get it down further yet. But that looks good there. All right. Let me get this down. Did that make it good? Yeah, looks good. Okay. So here is, and always have hot pads. And see, now these metal trays were not in the oven, but they were holding something hot. So be careful not to burn yourself on anything. All right. So here, this is cooked 40 minutes at 400 degrees. I'll try and remember to put that in the description. 40 minutes at 400 degrees. And your oven, I have a convection oven, so it goes down at 25 degrees from there? No, it's at 375. So it comes down 25 degrees because convection makes things cook faster. So 9:47 is the time. Well, that's not done yet. What time did I have that in? Darn it. Okay. Let me see how many minutes this. I'm going to set my timer over here. 17. 20. Okay. So what I did, I take them in thirds here. So look how easy that slices through there. Okay. And then there. Slice that through. And look how easy that is. So hopefully, and now look, I'm working right here on top of my stove because it's one of these. This one could have been in a few minutes longer. Because in here in the middle, it was a little harder to cut through, but it should cut through very easily. Now, when I did this the other day, it came off fairly clean. Oh, look at that. There it goes. When you slice them down, and I hope you can see that. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. When you slice it down, put your knife back in there, hold, and push it off. And that, it should come off like you're filleting a fish. Here, let me show you. I'll come over here and get you and see if you can see that. See? It's like you put your knife in and slide it across. Now, if it's not cooked as well, because this is a thicker part right here in the middle, when you take your container, put it in a pot to make the soup, then you can just let it cook a few minutes longer because making sure that it's all the way cooked through. Okay? Now, I'll show you what else. This is, oops, let me get the thing. This is how I roll it up. This is what you need. This is what you need to make the soup. You need a pot blender, a stand blender. It has a very sharp blade on the bottom. And this one is very, very old. Let me see what brand it is anymore. Magic Mixer. I don't even see what brand it is. But I must have had this 20 years. And see this big hole here? The switch went bad, and I went and had the switch repaired because I just love this blender so much. So it's like a little broken there, but I don't care. I don't care what things look like. I want them to work. So here we go. Very easy to clean. That's how I mix my almond butter with my coconut oil, and we have that every morning. Coconut oil is very good for your brain. So I'm going to finish making this over here, and look, you put it right in there. Comes right off. I just want to do the one so I don't get you too bored with this. And you can even, it is hot, still hot after even cooling off. But look how beautiful that comes off. And look, some of it is a little bit browned on the top. If you find some things, you know, here that are a little maybe too dark, but I like having a little interest in the soup. You know, you can, a little brown spot here and there, that doesn't bother me, especially if it's just from cooking. If it's a bruise, that might taste a little sour. So then here, look, you take the skin, fold it over, and put it right here in your bag that's open. No mess, no fuss. And see, if you have different workstations like this, you can do it easily. Now, I also went and I belong to the Weaver's Way Co-op in Ambler, Pennsylvania. They have, you pay $30 and you do 6 hours of work. Now I do 12 because my mom is 91, but it's 6 hours per adult per household. So I do 12 hours of work, and I go down to the Albury Arboretum. That's what I choose to do. I can do inside work. You can do stocking shelves or whatever. But anyway, it was down at the Weaver's Way Co-op yesterday, and I needed more of those plastic containers. And I forgot to tell you where I found those other ones. So I saw these. They have soup there, and you can buy soups. And here's a container. It's paper. Now, I knew I was going to have to give some of these away. So what did I do? I said, well, how many, you know, can I get a dozen of those? Oh, sure. And I think they charged me $3. I'm a member there. So $3 for 12, what's that, 25 cents a piece. It was worth it to me because I can give these away to someone, and they have lids. And then they don't have to return the container. I don't have to feel like I'm losing a container because we wash these plastic ones and use them again. Now these, the ones I'm going to give away were never used. Okay, they were never used. And here I'll show you what happened. So, I don't know if you can see that or not. But some of these are a little dirty, because these were in, I said, what did I do with all those containers? So here I remembered what I did. Now, I don't know if this is going to work out. So if somebody wants to leave it in a comment for me, I don't know. This is the first year I've done this. We have 2 chestnut trees out the back. So when the chestnuts were ripened, I thought, I hate to throw these things away. So I gathered them all up, and you know they have very prickly outer shell. So I took the shell off and have not burned them yet, but I have them all piled around the burn fire pit. So I got all of the chestnuts, and I stuck them in these containers, and I freeze them. I put them in the freezer, in the shells. So I don't know if that's going to be good or not. I don't know if they're going to survive, because you know when you freeze something and then it thaws out, it kind of goes to mush. So I don't know. If it does that, I might try and make a chestnut paste or a butter out of it. But I have never frozen them and seen how it works out. It would be really nice if it really held together, but I'm kind of doubting it. But I had so many. I had 10 of these containers of chestnuts. So I knew I couldn't eat them all, and I need to figure out something to make with them anyway. So we shall see. I'm gonna work with that. But that's where they were. So what's next? Okay. So you've seen that, and yes, this is wonderful stuff. Wonderful. I get this by the case, and it's a pop top, and it's organic. Now there is one with GUAR, guar, and that is a little bit thicker. So, but you have to, I'm going to say melt it, because you have to run it in ice. I used to get the one with guar, and then I would stick it in hot water while I was making coffee in the morning or something, and then it would melt, and I could mix it up, and then it's very creamy. This is also creamy, but I don't have to. Let me see if I have a jar. What I do is hold on a second. Let me get a jar. Okay. See, we save jars of certain types, and then you can use them. The jars are nice. See, now look how creamy this is. I'll wash this off. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The government will tell you, oh, coconut is bad. And you know, we all went through that. Well, maybe you guys didn't, because I'm a little bit older than you maybe. But the government will try to sway our opinions, and they will allow advertising. But they said this was a health risk, coconut oil. And that was a big fat lie. I don't mind telling you that. Coconut oil is wonderful. Use it on everything. When you get out of the shower, rub it between your toes. I am not kidding. It is just wonderful. It has antibiotic properties. It has a very low SPF, so I don't know that you'd use it for a sunscreen, but it does have some property. The other thing you can... this is a coffee creamer. I use this for coffee creamer. But see, when I open the can, then I put it in here, and it is just gorgeous. It is wonderful. Now that's almost clean. That is almost clean. Sometimes you get a little more cream sticking on the lid or up near the top because it rises. Depends on, I guess it depends on the age of the can of the coconut milk. But you know what? It doesn't go bad. Now, once you open the can, I have had it where it's turned into like a yogurt. It's gotten thick and yogurty. And that was even good. So you got to test things. You got to experiment with things. Don't be afraid. You know, these sell-by dates and all that, those are very strict. And you know, fermented foods are very good for you. So you just do experiments. You know, if it really is something you can't eat, I know people, what was that guy? He had the strange food show or something. He was eating all sorts of crazy stuff. So, and he didn't die. So you gotta, you know, unless you really feel like it's dangerous, I would experiment. Just take a little bit of it and then wait a couple hours. See how you feel on things. You've got to experiment and know your own body and know what you can tolerate and not. And one of my favorite things Here, one of my favorite things is sauerkraut. Oh my goodness. Sauerkraut is wonderful. And you know what else? Cabbage steaks. Oh, you slice the cabbage, you put oil on it. Oh, where's the oil? Oh, I didn't get to the seed part, but my oven just... Now I'm going to have to do something here because I got to get them out of there. So I'm going to have to... See, I'm doing this and talking, and I'm going to have to remove these so I have the tray to put the other ones on. And I'll just move this over here. Do you know what else I had? There's this liquid. This liquid that's on the pumpkin. When you bake it, it's just like gold. It is delicious. It's pumpkin water, and it's really wonderful. I tasted it. So I put that right in there. Now I'm going to get this out of here. I got to figure a place to put. I'll put you over there, mister. You be happy there. And let you cool, and I'll put my other pans over here. Now I'm going to move you over here so you can see. And you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Now, you'll see I have these trays. And I'm pretty sure these are done, even though I didn't have the timer set. See, you make mistakes. Oh, that's nice and soft. That's what you really want, is just for them to be soft. And look at that water, that pumpkin water on the top. Oh, is that nice or what? And look, you slide it right off into the pan. Okay, then you have it in the pan. And here's the other one. And you can slide that off into the pan. Now I'm going to take advantage of my empty oven at this point. Oh, I just have to show you this. Look at that. Look at the water in there, the juice. If it weren't so hot, I'd drink it right now. But oh, that's just wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about, let me shut this oven up a little. Nope, after I get my tray in there. Now these are pumpkin seeds. 12 minutes, I think the deal was. Yes. So this was a container. It's a Chick-fil-A container. Woohoo! There it is. Chick-fil-A. But this I just made was pumpkin pie spice and olive oil. That's what I put on these. Now the ones that I'm doing right now, I used ghee. Maybe I'll turn it this way now, and we'll do this section, the seed section. I'll show you what I used. I used ghee, which is like butter, and sea salt, and garlic powder. So I think that tastes good, and when they toast up, I think it's going to be really good. The next one I'm going to try, now this is the olive oil, and I'm going to tell you what is a good olive oil. Here it is. You want to know what a good olive oil is? This is it. When you drink this, if you take a little teaspoon of it, it just about chokes you. That's how good it is. It's like drinking green olives. You can't do it. They're so pungent. And that's what this is. And you will know it. So this is a very good olive oil to get. there is olive oil wars going on, and there's a lot of corruption in the olive oil business. So be very careful. If it does not choke you, it's not good. So do a little experimentation with that. Okay. And here's a little jar of coconut oil, and always get cold pressed virgin. Okay. Am I getting that on the screen? Yes. Okay. Coconut oil, and let me see. All right. So you remember when I had you take the seeds out very carefully so you get the cradle of seeds? Okay, this is why. All right, I'm going to show you how to take them off. Okay, now this is going to be messy and it's a little slippery, but this is how you do it. You take it with your left hand, you go with your right, and you just squeeze it a little bit with the fingertips, not down here, just with your fingertips, and they just pull. You can't go yanking because it's not very strong. If you squeeze it, it will come off. Now that you will have a little bit of the seed cradle or whatever pod that it's not a pod because it's not encapsulated, but you can leave a message and tell me if you've heard it called something else. Okay, so that one is pretty clear. These are immature seeds and they're probably not good for making seeds. So there you go, right in the bag that's open like a pan, so you don't have to mess with opening the bag. And there's nothing wrong with having having that open there. It doesn't draw, well, I don't know, do you have any bugs? I don't have any bugs here. Although, I'll tell you what, fruit flies are a real nuisance. Ooh. That's why I have that plastic container there, so I can always put a lid on it. And that's what I take down and put it in my compost bin and get the tiller out and till that. Now look, that's almost 100% seeds. I mean, really. Look all these seeds are hanging there. Just squeeze them a little bit, they come right off. And then you're going to, let me just do this one, and then we'll have some seeds to work with, and I'll show you then the next step. You know, when you're cooking, you've got to get your hands in there. There's no way around it. You know, just stop being a germaphobe. And if you're not eating, a pound of earth a year, then you're not living. Did I get all these in here? Yeah, these are immature, so there's no meat inside those seeds anyway. The Bible says seeds are meat. Meat. They have a lot of good nutrition. Pumpkin seeds are high, I think, in magnesium. And here you go. When you're 50 years old, start taking magnesium. I don't know if you all remember Lawrence Welk show. Now, I was young. When the Lawrence Welk show was on, but we liked it. You know, Elvis was on the Lawrence Welk show, so it couldn't have been all bad. And they had, you know, the Beach Boys. You know, when they all wore suits, they were so nice, and, you know, even though they were part of introducing the sexual revolution, which didn't turn out so good. I think that was one of the first things that the government did to try and bring down our country, was to get rid of, to introduce premarital sex as something that's a good thing when it's not a good thing. Because you should be marrying for something more than sex. You know? Really, you should get to know somebody. Without that, that part is just icing on the cake. So if you have nothing to look forward to, then what's it all about? So here we have some seeds, and here I have my tiny little colander. You put that in and you're going to rinse off. Now somebody else made a video about this and they said you want to boil them and all that sort of thing, and then she didn't take off the stuff that floated to the top. She didn't skim off, and I don't know what the sense of boiling is. These seem to be doing just fine. You see, I'm just rinsing them around and around and around. Now I cannot look at that. I'm going to take out anything that I see. They look gorgeous. All cleaned up. This had something in it I wanted to get out. But look, perfect. Okay. Any orange stuff, just pick it out. But you know what? It's not going to kill you. So there. Hey, now, when it comes to olive oil, I'm liberal. And I didn't dry these seeds. I didn't dry them. I don't think it's really necessary. The oil gets around. There's another little piece of orange in there. There it is. And then you put it on the tray, and so you can put anything on there you want. How about a little Creole seasoning? Ooh, those will be good. And the first set I put pumpkin pie spice, I told you that. So those were like mild. These will be a little bit more flavorful, give a little punch to it. So that's that. And you know what? You can do it any way you want. Anything that floats your boat. Anything that sounds good to you. And I think that's all I needed to tell you. I just put these in the freezer just like that. I put them in the freezer, and look at all the water down at that pumpkin water down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't. Pumpkin water. Woohoo! This is good eating. So I think that's it. I think I've got it. By Jove, I think I've got it. Oh, one more thing. This is a little thing. This is something I bought for this year. I'm going to get our family to have good discussions at the table, and I bought this. It's like a conversation starter. It says less small talk, more genuine conversations. And it's called, I did not open it, it's called Vertellus. And it's a Dutch Holland word. So I got this, I think it was $20 or something, but it's going to be well worth it. And we're going to have good conversations. So I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday, Thanksgiving, and whatever. And I just wanted to do this for you because I felt so encouraged that I'm doing this pumpkin. That's a new thing I'm doing. So love you all and have a great holiday. Okay, bye.